3,700 people finished the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon last month. But for one of the runners, crossing the finish line meant much more than just finishing the race. But let's take a step back. These were Robert MacDonald's first steps after being paralyzed. He fell off a balcony 4 years ago, and the memory is still fresh in his mind.
When I fell, my first thought was, what have I done? And my second thought was, I can't feel my legs.
While vacationing in Mexico, Robert fell 9 meters, which is about the same height as these houses behind me. He was taken to a hospital in Mexico and was then airlifted back to Canada. After the fall, he was told he had a 5% chance of ever walking again. Robert broke his shoulder, every rib on his right side, one on his left, 9 vertebrae, tore open his kidney, punctured his lung, and dislocated his spinal cord. Robert says he's lucky he did not sever the spine, which would have given him no chance of walking again. Robert's hunger to get back to his regular lifestyle is what sped up his recovery. His physiotherapist, Daryl Tracy, has been by his side over the past 3 years.
He is very motivated, he's very self-directed. He worked very hard at his therapy. He set big goals for himself, so he was very ambitious, and so that really helped drive the whole rehabilitation process. A lot of people kind of just get back into their everyday life, but he kept wanting to go a little bit further.
After 4 months of working with Daryl, Robert was setting high goals, trying to get back to his old self. He completed the half marathon last year and set his sights on this year's full marathon.
One of my good friends, he came up to me when I was in the hospital, and he said to me, man, we're going to run a marathon one day together. You know, I shook his hand and I said, yeah, we will.
Eric Humes and Robert have been friends for 8 years, and being active has always been a big part of their friendship. Even now, they swim together once a week. Eric was one of Robert's most frequent visitors while he was in the hospital, by his side through even the smallest victories.
I got a phone call saying, Eric, get in the hospital. Eric, you gotta come here, you gotta come here. And so I dropped what I was doing and ran to see him moving his big toe, just not even that much, just a little bit. And it was at that moment that I said to him, one day we will run a marathon.
Eric was in charge of training the team that ran with Robert in the marathon, Team I Will, which came from a motto that Robert lived by throughout his recovery.
Whenever you're in a hospital room, they put on the board, they write on it, you know, weather outside, who your nurses may be. I asked one of the nurses to write I will on the board. And then that became sort of my thing. Every night before bed I would look at it, and every morning before I woke up I would look at it, and it basically became what my mantra was.
Locals Only is a new venture for Robert, the restaurant he and 2 friends opened this past summer. The opening was hard on his body, as he sometimes put in 24-hour days of manual labor while renovating. Now he's only there part-time, going easy on his body and relaxing after the marathon. But as he takes on new challenges, he remembers his accomplishments.
I'm very competitive. I've been that way since day one. I always wanted to be first in a race. I ran competitively in high school.
Robert's active lifestyle before his accident played a huge role in how quickly he recovered. He finished the marathon with a time of almost 6 hours. During the run, Robert realized that there's a lot more to running than just crossing the finish line first.
You know, it's not all about speed or time. It's about the journey that's going on within. I didn't run it like my old self ran it. I ran it like, I guess I would say, my new self. And that new self is not nearly as fast, but he's definitely somebody who understands life better than the old self. And I wouldn't change my new self with a little bit faster time than the experience my old self has.
For Robert, 5% was just a number. Kate Skelly, Ryerson TV News.